Wales, the Midlands and Northern England. Mostly it's light, it's on and off, but there will be some heavier bursts involved. Stark contrast to Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, beautiful blue skies first thing. A bit colder compared with the last few mornings because of those clearer skies and lighter winds. 1 or 2 mist patches out there first thing. But for now, at least, an interlude between systems of rain. And we do have showers waiting in the wings to arrive into the northwest of Scotland through the afternoon, eventually reaching parts of western Northern Ireland. But this clear slice of weather will lead to plenty of sunshine for many western parts during Friday, whilst the rain slowly clears the southeast. Then it's the southeast where we see plenty of sunshine as we begin the weekend, and we keep those sunny skies through the Midlands, East Anglia and the southeast into Saturday afternoon. Elsewhere it turns cloudier and heavy rain increasingly affects parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland and Northern England, especially hills of Western Scotland and Northwest England, North Wales as well. Risk of localised flooding.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, to quote a famous news spoof TV show, it's war. Yes, that's right. War is on the front of like 4 different national newspapers. Prepare for war with ruthless Russia, all of this stuff. So if you weren't scared already, then you should be. The other thing apparently you should be very scared of is the super flu. That's made its way onto the front pages of several national newspapers as well. Apparently children are the worst hit by the super flu. So there you go. Mask your kids up, keep them off school. Not my advice, though, of course. And an illegal migrant is hidden in a nativity scene. So that's great.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition.
Conflict is at our door. Russia has brought war back to Europe, and we must be prepared for the scale of war our grandparents and great-grandparents endured.
Well, war. Get ready for war. This is what we're being told. That's the head of NATO warning about Russian aggression, basically just saying that, seriously, we need to be on a war footing. That's made the front of several national newspapers. Do you think it's scaremongering? Also,
today, we are reinstating the 2030 phase-out date for new petrol and diesel car sales.
No wonder she looks terrified. There's a guy driving a car into the back of her. What was all that about? Can we play that again? Look at that. Oh, hang on, wait for this. No wonder she's scared. Shocking.
Today, we are reinstating the 2030 phase-out date for new petrol and diesel car sales.
Oh, there you go. I'd sound awful as well if that was happening behind me. Anyway, Ed Miliband isolated by European net zero lovies as the EU looks to reverse their ban on petrol and diesel cars. And well, that was a bit of a performance by a band called Primal Scream, and they've been reported to the police over anti-Semitic imagery that they were used during a recent gig. We'll explain more a little bit later on.
We've got a virus that's spreading better and it's come earlier, so we're seeing it rising up the sort of infectious disease rates faster for this time of year.
I remember that interview like it was yesterday. The UK is facing our worst ever winter flu crisis. No, this isn't deja vu from when we said this last year or the year before or the year before that. No, this is this year right now, and this really is the worst one ever. But of course, why on earth would the doctors go out on strike with all of that in mind? With us this evening is Reform UK candidate Orla Minahan. We've got the ex-Labour advisor Matthew Larzer and comedian and GBNews contributor Cressida Wetton. But first, let's get those headlines with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you, Patrick. 2 minutes past 11 here in the GB newsroom. Our top story, the head of NATO says Europe must prepare for war with Russia. Mark Rutte urged member states to boost spending on defence, saying Europe is Vladimir Putin's next target and the continent could face a conflict on the scale of war our grandparents and great-grandparents endured. He made the comments in Berlin as efforts to secure a peace deal for Ukraine remain elusive.
We are Russia's next target. And we are already in harm's way. I fear that too many are quietly complacent. Too many don't feel the urgency. And too many believe that time is on our side.
It comes as President Zelensky says the US is pushing for Ukraine to withdraw from areas it controls in the east of the country to create a free economic zone. Mr. Zelensky announced the plan, but said he was unaware of who would govern it and raised concerns that Russia would simply take over after his troops pulled out. He says control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and giving up territory remain the two unresolved issues in the US peace plan. He added only Ukrainian people can make decisions on territorial concessions. The NHS is bracing for its worst ever winter crisis arising from a surge in superflu and an unprecedented number of cases. The number of patients being hospitalised in England because of flu has risen by more than 50% in the past week and could reach 5,000 each day by Sunday. NHS bosses are warning of a worst-case scenario and are urging people to get vaccinated so they're at lower risk over the Christmas period. Cases in Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales have also increased, but at a lower rate. Meanwhile, the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, says next week's doctor strike could cause the NHS to collapse over Christmas, warning of a tidal wave of flu tearing through our hospitals. The doctors' union's consulting members about a new government offer aimed at ending the long-running dispute. The offer includes extra training posts and a deal covering expenses, but makes no promise of extra pay. The BMA are due to make an announcement on Monday. The Prime Minister says the offer is dependent on the union calling off the strike.
We put an offer on the table to those issues, but that offer can only go forward if they don't take strike action, particularly in the run-up to Christmas, particularly when we've got a problem with flu. It would be irresponsible of BMA to push through. And I think for many resident doctors, I think, in their heart of hearts, they probably don't want to do this.
The Scottish band Primal Scream have been reported to police over an alleged display of anti-Semitic imagery at a concert in London. The Roundhouse in Camden's apologised after a video was screened on stage which appeared to show the Star of David entwined with a swastika. Graphics appeared behind the band as they performed their song Swastika Eyes. It was during a one-off gig on Monday. A spokesperson for the Roundhouse say they were appalled by the display. The band have been approached but are yet to comment. And finally, anyone hoping to attend next year's World Cup final will need to start saving now, with the cheapest tickets costing more than £3,000. The lowest price for an England game will be about £165. That's more than 3 times as much as it cost at the last World Cup in Qatar. Group matches will be priced according to perceived popularity of the team, so Scotland's games will be a little cheaper. It will cost more than £5,000 if you want to follow your team all the way through to the final. One fans group has called it a monumental betrayal of the tradition of the World Cup. And those are your headlines. Now it's back to Patrick.
Welcome along, everybody. Let's get you Friday's newspaper front pages. The Independent goes with NATO chief. We must be ready for war like our grandparents endured. Just want to put this out there again, that it's his job technically to stop that from happening. And it would be really nice if he did. But anyway, The Guardian, UK facing worst winter flu crisis within a fortnight as cases surge. So apologies, everyone, but the 2 stories so far are World War III death to us all, or coffee sneezy death to us all. The Sun, landlord's message to Labour, you're barred. Well, if it was so depressing that Labour MPs thought they wanted to go to a pub and have a drink to drown their sorrows, it turns out now that they can't in some places. They have been banned from some pubs. The Daily Mail, Minister, Britain's on a war footing. So, yeah, OK, it looks like the desire for war has now crossed over from NATO and into our own country as well. How do you feel about all these relentless war headlines? But the Daily Telegraph goes with Britain must not rely on the US for defence. So again, they're saying that we need to bolster our defence. I mean, look, by the way, I'm not against that. I mean, it's ridiculous that we've depleted the army. You could fit the entire standing army in Britain into Old Trafford Football Stadium and have room to spare. So, a bit nuts, really. But the Express, stop reckless strikes as NHS fights super flu. Another super flu story. The Daily Star, runaway in a manger. Fantastic story. There's great picture to go with it as well. This is in Italy, where a illegal migrant who's on the run was found pretending to be one of the 3 wise men in a nativity manger. I don't quite know how they managed to spot him, really, because when you look around there, can't really see. Maybe it was, I don't know, odd, isn't it? What gave him away? What gave him away?
What's going on in the middle of that? Is the sort of the person without a head? Is that a log?
That's a log. Yeah, no. So we're looking at the manger from an angle here, really.
Okay.
But yeah, there we go.
I was quite alarmed for a moment.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Not as alarmed as the baby Jesus, who was like, "Who is this guy standing over me?" But anyway. Let's kick off with something that's actually not on the front pages. GBNews Online have reported that the Roundhouse in London has issued an apology to the Jewish community after alleged anti-Semitic symbols were displayed during a Primal Scream concert. Primal Scream, band, I'm sure everyone knows that, but I'll sort of say it anyway. Audience members at Monday night's show reported a video, which we're playing to you now. It's got some flashing lights, so be careful about that. Screened on stage appeared to show the Star of David entwined with a swastika as the band performed their 2000 track Swastika Eyes. In a statement, a spokesperson for the Roundhouse said, "We are appalled that anti-Semitic imagery was displayed during a Primal Scream gig on Monday, December the 8th. We deeply regret that these highly offensive images were presented on our stage and unequivocally apologise to anyone who attended the gig and to the wider Jewish community." Yes, this news has broken recently. So look, what you're watching at there, obviously, is things like with the Israeli flag and swastikas in it. Yeah, I mean, Cressida, what do you make of this?
Well, I've seen Primal Scream at festivals doing that track with swastikas, not with Israeli with the Star of David, and they always do it with laser shows. You know, it's quite an intense sort of experience. I can't imagine what that would have been like for Jewish people. And of course, they're doing it in North London, in Camden. We were saying earlier, it would. I mean, presumably there would be Jewish people anyway, but it's specifically in North London. I just think it's appalling. I don't know how it was received by the audience. There's just one quote in the GBNews article from a Jewish guy saying he felt sick and he was horrified. He thought of his grandparents who were Holocaust survivors. I'd be interested to know how it went down in the room at the time. I suspect possibly not much outrage.
Yeah. I mean, there might not, but it's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, you know, you're there to watch a band or whatever, you know, you might have had a few drinks or something, you might not necessarily be paying closest attention to what's going on, but I mean, that was pretty in your face. I don't know if you might be able to play that again, but Matthew, your views on this. They've been reported to the Metropolitan Police, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's hope that if the case is followed through properly this time and we don't have the kneecap technicality situation if it's thought the charges are worth pressing. I mean, clearly the footage looks really, really revolting. I mean, it's a song that was originally written sort of as a satire of US foreign policy. I guess the band would argue that they've got issues with the US foreign policy still, but I mean, you know, mixing the Star of David and the swastika is just unforgivable. And so, you know, I hope there were some consequences.
I just think, like, behind
it's a pretty strong statement from the venue, actually. It's stronger than those statements usually are, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's got European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who appeared with merge symbols shown in her eyes. I mean, you've got all sorts of it. I mean, obviously, I think Benjamin Netanyahu is one of them, Donald Trump, Sir Keir Starmer as well.
It's in his constituency.
In his constituency, with swastikas in his eyes, you've got the Israeli flag, they're having MLA. I mean, the thing is, for me, it's like behind this story.
Daddy Miliband went to school opposite the Roundhouse, there's a fact.
Did he? What school is that?
It's a comp. I've forgotten what it's called.
It's one of those comps that posh people send their kids to, isn't it? But anyway, right. But behind that story, of course, is the fact that some tech guys had to make those graphics.
Yeah.
I just wonder at what point
people say no.
Maybe we shouldn't do the swastika bit.
Yeah, it's just shock value. That's all it is. It's trying to be relevant. Let's jump on the bandwagon. You know, actually, our music's pretty rubbish anyway. So let's. I don't know if you're.
I'm not a massive fan of
It's not really my bag. But you know, but the thing is, again, you know, pushing the boundaries. Let's be relevant. Let's get in the paper. Let's cause some aggro. Not necessary. Just not necessary.
No, not at all. Anyway, right, we'll bring you more on that as we get it. But yeah, Primal Scream, the band, who again, I will say, I do think actually do make some really good music. You know, just went absolutely mental and decided to put swastikas everywhere and Jewish flags and all of that stuff. They've been reported to the Met Police. Anyway, moving on, this is a GBNews exclusive now. It's a new YouGov poll commissioned by the Women's Policy Centre, which reveals overwhelming public concern about illegal migration and its impact on women's safety. 93% of people support deporting illegal migrants convicted of rape or violent offences. 67% believe illegal migration is putting women at greater risk. The Centre's chairman, Paola Diana, says that Britain wants decisive action to protect women and ensure violent offenders cannot find a safe haven in the UK. Well, Orla, I'll start with you on this. I mean, that is pretty, basically as overwhelming as I've seen on any poll ever in terms of the mood of the British public and especially towards women when it comes to, you know, foreign sex offenders.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm so pleased because women like me and the ladies that I've been, you know, protesting with over the summer and for the last 6-7 months have all been raising this awareness and saying what risk there is to women and children in this country. And we've been called horrendous names, we've been shouted down, and you know, and we've been made feel that we were conspiracy theorists and troublemakers. But you know, now people are seeing what's happening week in and week out. The stories are coming out. The horrendous crimes are being, you know, are being shown by mainstream media even now, which is, you know, a fantastic progress for women like us that have been talking about this for months. And now it's, you know, showing 93% of people support deportation. We have to deal with this. We've got to stop brushing it under the carpet, stop making excuses, stop putting these evil criminals into places where they're living a life of luxury.
And just to break down these numbers here for you, so 99% of Reform and Conservative voters back deportation of all illegal migrants convicted of rape and violent crimes. 92% of Labour voters do, and 93% of Lib Dem voters do. The only party that's an outlier here is the Green Party, which 36% of their voters are worried about the impact of illegal migration on women's safety. However, of them, 87% did back the deportation of violent criminals. But the point that I'm getting at here, Cresta, is that really, if any party just deported these people, no one... It's just a fringe minority of people are going to be the ones complaining about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand why they don't do that. What's so extraordinary to me is the stark contrast between this and the Me Too movement that happened so recently. Yep. And at the time, I knew so many people who... I know when you talk about Me Too, you have to do the obligatory. There was lots of good that came out of it. Yeah. OK, we know that. Of course we know that. But there was a lot of bad stuff that came out of it. And one of those things was this insistence that you believe all women at all times, which basically means don't believe anyone. It just becomes meaningless. And in this case, people have had to fight so hard to show something that, is clearly happening. Yeah. And even once they've done that, there's still this question mark over it. Whereas during the Me Too hysteria, you could say he looked at me the wrong way in a cab and all hell would break loose.
The difference is that you were dealing with a lot of celebrities, you were dealing with sort of high-power executives in Hollywood, it was in the media, it was exposed. Here, you're just dealing with little girls who are,
working class,
working class, or little girls that are just fodder. Absolutely, and that is the problem.
Often it's migrants and asylum seekers and non-white people who are doing the crimes, which makes it very, very difficult for some people with certain ideologies to acknowledge.
Yeah.
That's right. During Me Too, it was just the guy next to you. It was somebody from your community. It didn't carry this other element.
I admit, I'm obviously not going to name him, never will, but I had a very good friend of mine who lost everything at the height of Me Too for something he did not do. Yep. I mean, I'm not just saying he just didn't do it. No one who was close to him ever even thought that there was any chance that he did it, and it caught fire. And it was of the moment, and he lost everything. Yep. He lost all his jobs, lost all sorts, and it's turned out years later, that he didn't do it. Actually, the person who was accusing him of it admitted later on that they didn't do it, but, here we are, and now we've got stuff that we know is happening, and people just want to ignore it.
Yeah, and also, for the most part, things that are far, far more serious than a lot of the stuff that was being thrown around during Me Too.
I mean, in the Me Too movement, you're talking, like you said, he looked sideways at me, he touched my arm, he touched my leg. This is rape. This is the rape, that's, rape, gang rape in some cases of minors. Yeah. It's another level.
And I can't understand how those people who would traditionally have been interested in feminism, I can't understand where they've gone.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, Matthew, look, I'll bring you in on this. I mean, the stats kind of speak for themselves, and it is actually nice to have a poll that specifically focuses on women, actually.
Absolutely.
Because, it's all, people say things all the time, don't they, about, I bet women feel like this, or I bet, the attitudes towards women are this. But actually, here you go. It's done by the Women's Policy Centre, and it does show that the overwhelming majority of people want to deport people who have committed sex offences and are very concerned about safety of women when it comes to illegal immigration.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you say it's good to have confirmation, but I'm not surprised. And I think it should remind the politicians they need to find a solution. We need to be able to get people who deport people more easily than we have been. The government is making noises in the right direction, but the proof will be in the pudding.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, OK, just to round off this segment, can I actually, because I know we've done two stories there that aren't actually on the front pages, so sorry about that, but let's just bring up at least one of the front pages. The super flu thing is doing the rounds a lot again. I mean, the Daily Express have got Stop Reckless Strikes as NHS Fights Super Flu. That's on there. They've also, there's that. There's the Times as well, streeting. Strikes may force NHS to collapse because of the super flu. UK, The Guardian, UK facing worst winter flu crisis within a fortnight. As
Telegraph saying it's children worst hit.
Go on, can we read that? Telegraph,
absolutely.
The Telegraph's bit, because this seems to knock it on a bit. Why are they saying that children are the worst hit?
So they are. I think the issue is that 4 million children, more than half of whom of those aged between 2 and 7, remain unvaccinated, and that by the end of October, just 10% of primary school children were vaccinated in some of some boroughs, including the one I live in, London. So, and because what's interesting is the children's vaccine used to be obviously. It had to be done in GP surgeries. You now can get it done in a pharmacy, and it's a spray. It's actually not a jab.
Interesting.
So it's if anybody does, you know, have kids of the right age, pop into your local pharmacy, get it on the NHS, and they should be able to give you this spray.
There's a lot of non-vaxxers.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, if you look at the group, the 2 to 7-year-olds, that is the classic example. That's when the non-vaccination mob started up there.
It would tie in with the COVID, yeah.
And when we, I mean, a very long time ago, when I was at school, I'm pretty sure that it was just done standard.
You got I've still got my BCG mark from the exactly. But they're just, you know, never goes. They don't do that in quite the same way mostly anymore. Absolutely,
yeah, exactly.
But it is.
I think this is a hangover from COVID, though, isn't it? Where basically people, and we got sceptical, and in some cases, I think you have to say rightly that that there was a huge amount of pressure. It's a very divisive thing, this. I'm not trying to stoke any walls or anything, but, you know, some people, I think, felt a huge amount of pressure to go and get the COVID vaccine and get numerous different COVID vaccines, and some people, unfortunately, did have a bad reaction to it, right? And I wonder if now parents, are looking at this and saying, well, we're not going to get our kids vaccinated for other stuff.
Particularly, I think they've just washed their hands of it and said, I'm not getting involved, I don't trust you. Particularly if it's not actually that dangerous for children. When you say worst hit, presumably that's in terms of numbers, right, as opposed to consequences for the individual child. And also, kids go to school and cough on each other. I mean, I'm not surprised that children are worse hit, if that's what they mean.
Yeah, so the infection rates are highest of all groups amongst children 5 to 14. But obviously it is more greater risks in older group. But of course, one of the problems is the children then spread it, and I think that's the issue, that spreading. Even if children are getting in sufficient numbers, that it then has that snowball
People will
effect.
hear protect granny and think we've heard that before.
Exactly. Well,
I mean, I think everyone needs to be clear. All the flu, the flu vaccines, they are more likely to stop your symptoms getting severe. They're not likely to stop you getting it. And you know, you've got to be realistic about what it can achieve. But it seems worth doing if you can.
All right. Well, there we go. Well, look, the flu has made the front pages spreading. The flu has made the front pages of many different newspapers. But we've also got a bit of this tonight.
Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to
get the stuff. Strong language. Every once in a while you have to use a certain word.
Yeah, so the bloke who called President Trump daddy, I've said it before, say it again, weird guy. He's all in charge of NATO, anyway, he is now telling us all to prepare for war. If only there was a man who could stop it. Anyway, that's next.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
And I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about autism and why you got involved with this, because some people don't know the story as to why you set up Anna Kennedy Online.
Well, I have 2 sons. They're now 32 and 35, and I'm proud to say that my eldest son, Patrick, is in Stockholm at the moment on his own, so that's like a big step for him to go on holiday, and he's loving it. So they both were diagnosed fairly young, and the support at the time was just non-existent. So we had to set up our own school, and then we set up a vocational college for my youngest son, Angelo.
Now, how do you know that they're autistic? Is there a blood test? Is it something where you have a list of symptoms? Or, because some people say, oh, I've got ADHD and this and that, and I think sometimes people conflate it with autism. Are there parallels with the two, or are they totally separate? Because it's confusing.
They're very different from each other, both Patrick and Angelo. So Angelo was diagnosed fairly early at 2.5, 3. He passed all the milestones, and then he just lost everything. His speech, eye contact, didn't want to be touched, didn't even want me to hug him at the time, running from one end of the room to the other, squealing, and it was just like, what is going on? And as a mum, you're thinking, what have I done wrong? Have I done something wrong?
Oh, no.
Patrick was diagnosed fairly early again, but he was premature, and I thought the difficulties that he was having because he was 11 weeks premature, I thought, is it because he had a bit of a difficult start, in and out of hospital. And then he was diagnosed at 4, and then we found out when he was 7, when he was struggling at school. He was finding school difficult, being bullied. So it's an autism spectrum condition, and if you feel that there might be, you know, something that I'm not quite sure, I can't get a handle on it, please go and see your GP and just ask for your child to be assessed. But the difficulty at the minute is the waiting list is so long to get a diagnosis.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Do you remember this guy?
Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
Daddy has to use strong language. Well, yeah, there we go. He's famous for calling President Trump Daddy.
He called you Daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. He did it very affectionately. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Yeah. Well, today
I think it's weird and awful. I think the Trump reaction is weird. You know.
Well,
no, come on, mate. You're not letting him
not
off.
as weird as Mark Rutte.
I think he probably encouraged it. I imagine Donald Trump likes being called Daddy.
Okay. Well, okay, good. Well, that would do this. Anyway, Mark Rutte, the NATO weirdo, is all over the front pages, warning that we are on the edge of war.
Conflict is at our door. Russia has brought war back to Europe, and we must be prepared for the scale of war our grandparents and great-grandparents endured.
Right, let's bring up the front of the Independent, because they go for NATO chief, we must be ready for war like our grandparents endured. With a chilling nod to the Second World War, Secretary-General Mark Rutte issues a warning, saying that we are Putin's next target, that we are in harm's way, that conflict is at our door. Yeah, I mean, OK, is this on the front of the Independent? Is it dangerous scaremongering? Is there a kernel of truth in it, Cressida? What do you think?
Well, I don't know if there's a kernel of truth in it, but it's very scaremongery, isn't it? And also, you kind of think, don't keep saying it. It's like being in a pub with someone that's kicking off. You want to go, shh, just calm down. I don't want to hear this. I hope Putin's not watching. And of course, the other problem is, are we ready? We never are. We hear this story time and time again. There's army recruitment problems. We're not tough enough. We're underfunded. So it's very worrying.
Of course, I think it's incredibly worrying, really. And it's, again, it's a combination of stuff. If we go to the Daily Mail, Labour's Al Carnes...
Which, if you read it, because it looks like AI Carnes.
Oh, it does.
Because, you know, if you were unknowing, you might think it was.
You'd say AI Carnes. So Britain was told to prepare for armed conflict with Russia last night. Armed Forces Minister Al Carnes said that the country was on a war footing and warned that the shadow of war was at Europe's door. Well, that is basically the same thing that the head of NATO has said, isn't it, really? Europe must prepare for the scale of war our grandparents endured. I don't really think I like this constant talk of it. I mean, does it have to be like this? I mean, why...
It's a cheerful Christmas message.
Why are they saying all this to us? I mean, sorry, they either know something that we don't, in which case they should just, like, I don't know.
Well, maybe not tell us, actually.
I mean,
really...
What they're trying to do is scare... they want to up it to the agenda to scare Trump, because Trump is about to capitulate, and they want to, you know... And also they want to show to Trump that they're taking it seriously and that Europe is stepping up and spending more. So that's the message. But whether it just worries people is a, you know, possibility.
Well, the problem is we're spending our tax money on so many other things, like illegal migrant hotels and everything like that.
We are amongst, as are some of our allies, increasing spending significantly. The Germans are doing a massive step change as well.
Yeah, but think how much we can increase the defence budget by if we just didn't have any illegal immigrants.
It would be much better if we didn't have to pay that down, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we agree on that.
Yes, I do agree with that, strangely. Yes, I do. The thing is, ultimately, they're saying they're increasing their defence spending, but again, there's a delay. There's always a time delay. So you're increasing your spending, but when is that going to be ready? When are we going to be in a position where we are, you know, ready for a war, should there be one? I mean, it's terrifying to think about, but I mean, when? Like, 2030.
Well, the problem it's not just it's even when you start to spend the money. The problem is there's massive problems about defence procurement, getting the right kit. There was a big issue about the AX vehicle this week, and so the military complex, as it were, needs to get their act together so that when the money's spent, it's spent on effectively on stuff that frontline troops can use.
It'll go down, if we could bring up the front of the Daily Telegraph, but it'll go down as a huge dereliction of duty of our time and of our decades, really, when it comes to the state of the British Armed Forces. I'm very lucky to know and interview, members of the Armed Forces, past and present, on a regular basis here. This line of work, got friends who are in the military. There's no doubt that they are, incredible people. Don't get me wrong, but there's only so much that those people can do. It's not just about lack of resources. It's also bad planning. Chinese-made electric vehicles that our armed forces are driving around in some cases, which you're not allowed to talk in because they think that the Chinese have put spy devices in. You've also got historic prosecutions of veterans, the SAS talking about whether or not they are going to go into fight for this country because they're worried about getting taken to court if they decide to pull the trigger, which we want them to because they're the SAS. So all of this stuff,
It's actually great recruitment PR, is it?
No, it's not. Well, they did a recruitment PR campaign for the British Army that was a Muslim recruit, and all of his comrades, what we call them,
stopped what they were doing, took their gear off, supported him to pray. I spoke to a friend who's ex-service, and he said that is absolutely ridiculous. The idea that you would do that and make yourself that vulnerable is ludicrous.
So we'll stop this battle for the call to prayer.
And it really wound him up. You could see that because that's telling the British public, oh, it's kind of just like the jobs you do. We can all just stop for a tea break and a prayer. And this guy was saying, absolutely not. He was quite offended, Do you think
they're going to open multi-faith prayer rooms on the battlefield?
Well,
which again is just for one faith. Anyway, there we go.
But anyway, look, at least also on the front of the Telegraph is Prince William spreading some Christmas cheer with the 1st Battalion of the Welsh Guards at their Christmas party in Windsor yesterday.
Exactly, yeah.
That is true.
Then on some of the other papers, the Daily Express, we have a lovely picture of Camilla, and she's on a couple where she's had a lovely Christmas party for some underprivileged kids. Oh, no, actually, terminally ill kids, I think they are, which is lovely. And, I mean, she does... Bless Camilla.
Yeah.
I like her a lot. I think she's trying.
That's also it's a nice photo, William. He looks like a sort of real person there.
It's quite rugged, doesn't it, that beard?
Yeah. Oh, I love William.
Well, there you go. Yes, the Royals doing their bit this Christmas. Well, there's lots to talk about when we come back. We are going to be doing a little bit of this.
Does this guy go home at night believing what he says? The answer is yes.
Anyway, the EU has turned their back on Ed Miliband as they look to scrap the 2025 pledge to ban petrol cars. Plus,
the European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. That's the purpose of it. And they've done a good job of it, but now I'm president.
Well, apparently President Trump is trying to break up the European Union. All that and more next.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. We do have an area of rain moving east and it's only slowly going to make its way across the country overnight into the start of tomorrow. But having seen a damp day on Thursday in Northern Ireland and Western Scotland, the rain is now clearing through with skies clearing and temperatures falling overnight in the west and northwest. Meanwhile, it's a damp evening across Wales, the southwest, central parts of Scotland, and then that rain moves into central parts of the UK through the early hours of Friday. Ahead of it, a lot of cloud, temperatures staying in the double figures in some spots, but a colder start to Friday for much of central and western Scotland as well as Northern Ireland, having seen those clearer skies. Here's the rain first thing Friday. It's across much of Devon, Dorset, into Somerset, eastern parts of Wales, the Midlands and Northern England. Mostly it's light, it's on and off, but there will be some heavier bursts involved. Stark contrast to Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, beautiful blue skies first thing. A bit colder compared with the last few mornings because of those clearer skies and lighter winds. 1 or 2 mist patches out there first thing. But for now at least, an interlude between systems of rain. And we do have showers waiting in the wings to arrive into the northwest of Scotland through the afternoon, eventually reaching parts of western Northern Ireland. But this clear slice of weather will lead to plenty of sunshine for many western parts during Friday, whilst the rain slowly clears the southeast. Then it's the southeast, where we see plenty of sunshine as we begin the weekend, and we keep those sunny skies through the Midlands, East Anglia and the southeast into Saturday afternoon. Elsewhere, it turns cloudier, and heavy rain increasingly affects parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland and Northern England, especially hills of Western Scotland and North West England, North Wales as well. Risk of localised flooding.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Shortly, we're going to be telling you about how Ed Miliband has found himself isolated. The EU is abandoning a petrol car ban, so, you know, Miliband out in the cold again. Now he knows how we feel, shivering in our own homes because we can't afford his energy bills. But we're going to go stateside now to The Late Show live with GB News' Bev Turner. Bev, you've got some great stuff on for us tonight. Talk us through it, please.
Hi, Patrick. That's right. President Trump is going to be talking tonight. He's at the Congressional Ball. That will be after 1 o'clock, so we're going to take some of that for you. We know anything can happen, frankly, when he stands up on the lectern and starts to talk. We're also going to be debating the House of Lords, whether it is time to scrap it completely. Of course, there's been a lot of discussion about the imbalance in the House of Lords this week and who should and should not be sitting there. And we're also going to be discussing, Patrick, what you just touched on there, which is this idea that President Trump has got his sights on destroying parts of the EU. We know that there are some leaders in Europe that he gets along very nicely with. Giorgia Meloni is one of them, Viktor Orban in Hungary, of course, as well. And how much damage could he do to the EU, and would our viewers at home like to see that? We're also going to be talking about the fact that publicans, not Republicans, but British publicans, are petrified following the budget because it's so hard to keep our boozers open there, and this is the time of year when you really want to encourage people to get down the local pub, support it, drink responsibly, of course, the kind of thing we have to say now, but also we know we lose the pub at our peril, don't we? So we're going to be talking about that and looking at all the front pages as well, Patrick, this evening.
Brilliant stuff, Bev. All right, looking forward to it. Thank you very, very much. You take care. We'll see you again in a few minutes' time. Bringing it back here to the UK, Daily Telegraph front page. Let's try and bring that up if we can. Ed Miliband has been left isolated over his net zero policies after the European Union dropped a flagship pledge to ban the sale of new petrol cars. So Brussels was said to be preparing for a major climb down on vehicle emissions rules. All right, OK. So, I don't know, really. I mean, this is Ed Miliband just... Now he's like considered a numpty internationally, isn't he, which is great.
A little harsh.
Not just
look, I mean, I don't consider him a numpty, but I do think this will put pressure on the government.
You used to work for him, didn't you?
I did used to work for him, yeah. It's an interest, I declare. But so the EU is going to ban petrol, diesel and hybrids by 2035. We are going to do it by 2025 for petrol and diesel and 2030 for hybrids. So we're already doing it sooner than the EU. If the EU abandons it, we're going to look like an outlier. Why are the EU doing it? Because the German car industry is worried about being flooded with Chinese EVs, so it wants to save the German car industry. I think probably Britain will be forced into the same because all car plants are on a pan-European basis.
But for an eco-zealot like Ed Miliband, being an outlier is a good thing.
Not if the Nissan factory in Sunderland closes.
He doesn't give a toss. He didn't give a toss when Port Talbot closed.
Richard Phillipson does.
But he didn't give a toss when Port Talbot closed. He didn't give a toss when... Well, he didn't though, did he? I mean, they didn't do it.
The government as a whole did.
He doesn't give a toss that Aberdeen is going to wreck and ruin now because of it. He just got right off an entire part of Scotland. It was just right.
You don't mean he personally just thinks it's a good thing or he's relaxed about it. I mean, surely you don't mean that. I think Greta Thunberg feels like that, and her friends, you know, they want to be outliers, don't they, and be seen to be the naughty kids. But surely, in his ideal world, everyone comes with him and he gets his net zero dream.
I don't know.
Having watched one of his social media videos, his ukulele playing. That didn't happen when I was there, nor did the bacon sandwiches.
No.
I was in.
I think he's a man who's used to being isolated, isn't he? Is that fair?
I would reckon so. From childhood, probably.
I think you'd be surprised. I think, you know, in his own little world, you know, I suppose if he is isolated, he's got 2 kitchens, hasn't he? So he can just...
I was actually there for the revelation of the 2 kitchens.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was one of the low points of my spin doctor career.
Fair enough. There you go. So just to fill us in,
on the 2 kitchens.
What happened? So it turns out. You know,
so I mean, what actually happens is that I mean, you know, it's a substantial but not mansion-like North London home, and we were filming with the BBC, and they just started wandering around, and there was like a smaller second kitchen, and they discovered it, and then 2 kitchens became a thing. And obviously, you can't physically stop people when they start to wander around the home. You know, so yeah. But
what happens in this other kitchen?
So actually, the nanny basically basically used it.
Right. Yeah.
I imagine the nanny's gone now because the kids are older.
Right. Okay. Good.
There we go. That was quite embarrassing.
Oh, all right. Fair enough.
Because your carbon footprint.
Yeah. Well, quite. Well, this is it. You know, when he's on private.
Did he have a gas oven?
Well, that I cannot answer.
Well, he's got private jet. He takes private
jet.
He takes private jets.
He used a private jet.
He uses private jets. Sent an aide to Brazil to check out a 4-star hotel, which wasn't good enough for him. So the aide came back and everyone went to a 5. Well, he posted on LinkedIn, so I mean that's quite a good indication. You know, all of this stuff. Anyway, and the articles yesterday were that because of his race to net zero, your bills are going to go up by £500, and now today.
And then eventually go down a lot, but not for 25 years. That was the issue with this story yesterday, and that's the problem with this. So some of this is a lot of the green agenda is the right thing to do. The problem is that it can cause a short-term pain. We cannot have a situation where our car plants are closing and the German car plants are staying open. I mean, like every Nissan car in Europe is made in Sunderland. The vans are made in Barcelona. You know, it's all integrated. You can't have one rule for 90% of Europe and one for the rest. Of course, if we were still in the EU, then he wouldn't get his way. So it would have been an EU bonus for those who think we shouldn't phase them out.
Well, you know, maybe there are some benefits after all, but yeah, no, I do find Bill a little bit weird. Now there is a little story I'd like to bring up, and this is again actually on the Daily Telegraph, and it was pointed out by two of my 3 wonderful panellists here. So if we bring the Telegraph up again, please. Pop has taken a dark turn over the last 50 years. Cressida, what's happened?
Everyone's depressed.
Right.
We don't know, do we? We were saying earlier, is it life imitating art or art imitating life? I don't know. Maybe, you know, they say bad news sells. Maybe that's true of pop songs as well. If you hit somebody with something... I mean, Adele, she did brilliantly, didn't she? And all her stuff was depressing.
She can't write songs when she's happy.
Well, there you go.
Is that why there's such a big gap between albums?
Well, I think one of the reasons I don't want to get sued by Adele, but I mean, I think she has... I've heard her...
I didn't think there was pop anymore. I mean, what do you class as pop?
But it's all that K-pop now, isn't there?
Well, that's pretty upbeat.
Yeah.
You know, that's loads of lovely...
I can't understand a word of it there.
Well, no, I don't know what the lyrics.
You know, but they all seem very happy in jumping around in, like, pigtails and stuff. But the thing is, pop, as we would describe pop in the sort of 80s, 90s, was, you know, Kylie, Jason, Poppy, kind of Stockhaven and Waterman kind of stuff. Now it's all sort of...
I've got a friend who calls it crying dancing music. Modern clubbing stuff, because makes you want to dance.
Careless Whisper was not exactly upbeat, was it?
No, that's true.
Great saxophone.
Oh, it's so amazing. You know, George.
Sad loss this time of year as well.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, basically the story essentially is that pop music has got more miserable.
Yeah, they've analysed 200,000 chart songs that charted in the States between 73 and 2023.
OK.
50 years of them.
Is anyone... I sense that I might be barking up the wrong tree here, but is anyone here planning on going to the World Cup?
No.
I'd like to, if I could afford it.
Oh,
beautifully done.
Thank you.
Beautifully done. Smooth.
Seamless, because we are going to reveal how much it's going to cost you if you want to go to the World Cup. And the Daily Mirror's front page is leading with it, the World Cup of Greed. That's next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Are you heading away this weekend? Well, it's turning unsettled through the Canary Islands, but there is plenty of sunshine to come for the Mediterranean. But a spell of wet weather through Friday will push through Tenerife as well as Madeira and through Lisbon as well as towards Barcelona. Plenty of cloud and outbreaks of showers for Nice. But as we look further east, high pressure dominates and that will bring plenty of sunny and dry weather to parts of Greece in particular. So temperatures here will start to climb towards the high teens.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Well, supporters hoping to next year's World Cup final face paying thousands of pounds even for the cheapest ticket. It's on the front page of the Daily Mirror. They call it a new low for shameful FIFA. So the Football Supporters Association's England Fans Embassy has called it a slap in the face. Tickets for the final at the MetLife Stadium in New York are apparently anywhere between £3,100 to £4,162 to £6,615. By the way, some of the tickets for the other games as well are still in the high hundreds of pounds. Like, we're playing Panama at one point. I think we are. That's like 600 or 700 quid to go and watch.
This is extra. I would recommend all young single women looking for a bloke to
100%
hang around outside here with your apps on. I mean, who's going to be at these games?
You would be surprised. I guarantee you that every one of those tickets will be sold. Guarantee.
I guess they
because
will.
They'll be corporate ticket. You know, that's the things that would be corporate organisations that buy the tickets en masse. Is that the ticket price from FIFA for the game, or is that the uptick?
That's the legit price.
Yeah,
that's before the scalping happens. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The cheapest tickets for the final in the USA now cost more than £3,000.
But then, if you look at Wimbledon, how much Wimbledon is for a final, it's just absolutely extreme. And so you are completely knocking out the mainstream fan, and just you've got the elite.
I mean, it's a bit of a contrast to Qatar, where the prices weren't that high. Obviously, a bit tricky to, not cheap to get there, but not cheap to get to the States either. But obviously, for Qatar, it was about putting yourself on the world sporting map and using it as diplomacy. Whereas in the States, it's about making the dollar.
Well, I can also just say that they've got the Pride match is going to be played at the World Cup. It's in Seattle, and it's against it's Iran versus Egypt.
Both of them have asked for it not to be the Pride match.
Both of them have asked not to be. But the only other game in that group that they could use as the Pride match is the USA versus Australia, and they can't because that's also their dedicated anti-slavery match. Yeah, so it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Are any of them themed around?
How they swap them round?
well, still that doesn't work, does it? Because of the other two nations.
Yeah, I think that's worse.
Like Iran, I don't know, they're still a bit slavey, aren't they?
Can't they just play football?
Modern slavery is an issue across the world.
Yeah. But I just I don't know, it just cracks me up. Like, why? So we've got. Why are we doing any of this?
It should just be...
But also then stop... If you care so much about these issues, stop giving World Cups. Like in 2036, it's in Saudi Arabia, which does have modern slavery and kills gay people.
And presumably it's only the men's World Cup's going to be in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
well, I don't know.
Do they play women? Do women play in Saudi? I think they've got Saudi teams.
Is there? OK, forgive me if...
They have to just play abroad and never at home.
The point that you have to ask that question, says everything. If FIFA really cared about all of these human rights issues, why have you given World Cups to Russia, to Qatar and to Saudi Arabia?
Well, don't they think they're turning up and doing their Pride match and showing the world the way, and also that?
But we're going to this. I mean, this is going to be an utterly farcical situation, isn't it? Where Iran and Egypt take to the field, presumably surrounded by rainbow banners, where both teams just look utterly miserable. I mean, what is that? What is that?
It's going to be awkward. It's going to be awkward.
It's needless. It's football. To be fair, it's going to make me a lot more likely to watch Iran.
And all the Scotland matches were like 3 o'clock in the morning as well, haven't they?
Yeah,
They've been deprioritised.
Yeah,
but they get a cheaper ticket, but you have to stay...
They're actually paying people to go and watch Scotland.
Oh, harsh. Harsh. Fantastic that Scotland's qualified.
Good, sorry to...
And, of course, Wales may yet, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe that's my only piece of football fact somebody gave me the other day. I hope it's still
Wales
true.
what?
Might still qualify in these playoff things.
Could they?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Good luck, anyway. Good. I don't think that's true, because they've done the draw.
No, they've done they were still like...
Oh, sorry.
Because of this extra... So the football nerds in my office told me.
Well, there we go. Well, there we are. Well, no, bad news for any football fans who are hoping to go there. Yeah, you are going to have to pay absolutely loads of money. The Sun's front page is interesting. Landlord's message to Labour, you're barred. Hundreds of furious landlords are barring Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer and his Labour MPs from boozers. They're saying this because of the budget tax grab. Is this good?
Yeah, it is good. Right. Because then all of us can go into the pubs and not have to tolerate Labour.
Labour MPs are lovely. You wouldn't bar me if you were a landlord, would you?
No, I wouldn't. I'd buy you a drink.
And neither would our lovely Adam Brooks. Who's club I go to regularly.
I think he might ban Starmer.
Yeah,
I think he would ban Starmer. Yeah,
he won't ban you. Yeah. No, he won't ban you. No, not at all.
But I'm not the Prime Minister, so,
No, that's true.
For the country.
I think nearly 5,000 small pubs are said to be hit by business rates for the first time.
I mean, the thing is, on a serious note, it is an absolute scandal because pubs, I think I was reading the other day that vast amounts of pubs are closing down every week. And, pubs provide... a social life to so many small communities, and it's almost, and they're closing and they can't stay open. The only way they can make money is by selling food as well.
Which is what makes it even funnier, the idea that they would forego the prices that the MPs would pay. They just don't want them in there. I think it's... Do you remember when it happened during the lockdown when that guy in Bath wouldn't let Starmer...
Yeah.
It made great TV, actually. It was really funny. It was quite a statement.
I think the problem is that the landlords, half of them, wouldn't know who the Labour MP was.
Well, no.
So
to be fair, one of the organisers in Bournemouth said that he liked his local Labour MP. It wasn't personal. He just wanted to send a national message. So
yeah, OK, all right. Well, but yeah, no, I mean, I think it's absolutely fair enough, really. I mean, and like you were saying, especially in rural areas, like obviously regular viewers and listeners, I used to live in the Lake District for a bit. There are communities there, where the pub is such a central part of that. It's a real hub. And to see those go, it sucks the life out of the local community.
Well, and it's where we discuss things like, what do you think of the government and how they're doing? It's where we Well, we thrash things out together, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, look, thank you very much to our wonderful panel. Let me give you a final run-through of Friday's newspaper front pages. So The Independent have gone with NATO chief, we must be ready for war like our grandparents endured. A lot of warmongering on the front pages. The Guardian, UK facing worst winter flu crisis within a fortnight as cases surge. The only thing I would just say to that is temper your fear slightly. I did have a virologist on earlier who said we might actually be at the peak of this now. Hopefully we are, but we'll wait to see. The Sun, what we were just talking about, landlords' message to Labour, you're barred. They've barred Labour MPs from pubs. The Daily Mail, Minister, Britain is on a war footing. So that's the Labour minister saying we're on a war footing. The Daily Telegraph, Britain must not rely on the US for defence. Again, we are saying that we need to increase our own defence budget. The Daily Express, stop reckless strikes as NHS fights the super flu. The Mirror, World Cup of Greed. This is the cost of World Cup tickets for England fans. The Daily Star, runaway in a manger. Yeah, this is a, I mean, it's an illegal migrant who was on the run, who hid himself in a nativity scene and it's fair to say stood out like a sore thumb. So there you go. He wasn't on the run for long. But look, thank you very, very much to my wonderful panel. I'll be back in the studio tomorrow night for a live studio audience show. If you want to be a part of my live audience, well, you can find out how to do it online via the GBNews website, but go to SRO is the website, SRO, and you can be a part of whatever this is. But let's go now stateside to the Late Show Live with Bev Turner.
Thank you, Patrick. That's right. You look at the front pages from today for you guys there in the UK, and it's just be afraid of everything, be afraid of flu, be afraid of the war. It doesn't feel like that here in America. So let's entertain you for a couple of hours with some great stories here. We are going to be looking at Trump's attack on the EU, and we're going to be watching him talking live at a ball here in the run-up to Christmas. See you in a minute.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now! Well, over here, all of the front pages are talking about the super flu or World War III. But if we go over to Bev Turner now, it looks as though President Trump is going to do his best to break up the European Union before we get to World War III, Bev.
So there is some good news then, Patrick, you might say. I mean, it shouldn't be funny talking about World War III or the super flu, but frankly, you have to laugh, don't you? Because genuinely, if you believed everything you read on the front pages of the paper, you wouldn't wake up tomorrow morning.
No.
You just couldn't bear to get out of bed. So we are going to try and cheer people up for a couple of hours tonight. It's very much party season here in DC at the moment, and President Trump is going to be talking at the congressional ball tonight. So we may take a little bit of that because, as you know, when Donald Trump gets on stage, anything can happen. Thank you, Patrick. Frankly, anything could happen here as well tonight. This is The Late Show Live with me, Bev Turner. On The Late Show Live tonight.
We see you. We know what you're doing. And if the Yantar travels south this week, we are ready.
Well, breaking tonight, Britain apparently is scrambling to toughen its defences. The Ministry of Defence has just announced plans to unite all intelligence units following a stark warning from NATO's chief. Also tonight.
So Sir Keir Starmer, always critical of the House of Lords, and in particular the number of peers being put in by previous Tory governments, has now decided to put 25 of his own cronies in the House of Lords.
Oh my lord, Nigel Farage tears into the PM as Reform UK are snubbed from appointing any peers to the House of Lords. Maybe it's time for something like this.
And replacing the unelected House of Lords with a new, smaller, democratically elected second chamber.
So that plan's going well then. I'm sure in principle it sounded good, in reality very difficult. Also tonight.
We have seen a pub a day close over the last 12 months. We don't want to see that going forward.
That is the boss of Green King, one of Britain's biggest pub chains. But breaking tonight, publicans are warning that closures and job losses are, as they say, inevitable, all thanks to that recent Rachel Reeves budget. We're going to be looking at tomorrow's front pages, hours before the ink is dry. We're going to be breaking the news before it becomes news. We are, of course, live here in Washington, D.C., just yards from the White House, bringing you the stories that America is talking about and that matter to Britain too, including this.
The European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. That's the purpose of it. And they've done a good job of it, but now I'm president.
Is it time for a Make Europe Great Again union? Mega. Leaked documents suggest that President Trump is plotting to pull 4 nations away from the EU and reshape the continent from over here in Washington. I imagine some of you think that's quite a good idea. And as this programme continues this evening, we are in standby. The President could speak at any moment. He's at a congressional ball. This genuinely is 2 weeks of black tie events every single night here in Washington, D.C. We'll take some of that speech when he takes to the stage. I'm Bev Turner. This is The Late Show Live. Let's get started. Love to hear from you tonight as well. GBNews.com/your say. Do get in touch and talk to me here in the studio. So, are we about to see the mega Union, a Make America Great Again alternative to the European Union. A leaked version of President Trump's new national security strategy suggests something extraordinary, that the United States may attempt to pull at least 4 European nations away from the EU itself. Reports are suggesting that Italy, Hungary, Poland and Austria are being quietly earmarked as the core of a new America-aligned Europe. According to Defence One, the document proposes that Washington build tighter relationships with governments culturally aligned with Trump's worldview, with the explicit goal of pulling them away from